Hey, welcome to Socialism for All. Today's date is August 24, 2021, and in this video we're going to take a look at Kyrsten Sinema's latest antics trying to hold up progress in the US Senate. If you like this video, please click like and subscribe and consider supporting us on Patreon. There's a link to Patreon in the video description. So we've covered Kyrsten Sinema on this channel before. She used to be a Green. She was opposed to the Bush-Cheney wars and that whole era in the 2000s. Seemed to be very progressive, was a social worker, and then at some point completely sold out and became super corporate and right-wing. I'll put a link to that earlier video in which we did a pretty deep dive on who the hell is Kyrsten Sinema. I'll put a link to that either in the description or as a pinned comment if you want to check that out. So we won't go into as much depth here, but the same principle is playing itself out. She opposed the $15 minimum wage. Democrats, as far as I know, really did nothing to try to enforce any discipline. She basically is, opposing major things that the Democratic Party says that they are in favor of and getting away scot-free. Is this total just fecklessness on the part of the Democrats, or is this all part of the plan for them to have an excuse to just, oh, gee, well, one person voted against it. Guess we can't do it after all. Just the excuse that they needed, conveniently turning up in the form of Kyrsten Sinema. Well, whatever it is, the Democratic Party is a complete joke, and it is the fundamental task of the U.S. left to break completely with the Democratic Party as soon as is humanly possible, definitely within the 2020s, although I don't think this should take 10 years. This should have been done already. So hopefully within the next few years, the US left gets the memo. That is literally step one, and it is a prerequisite to doing anything else. Anyway, let's take a look at this article, because now it's not just the $15 minimum wage. It is the $3.5 trillion spending bill. I believe this is the big Bernie Sanders package that rolls out a bunch of progressive stuff, yada, yada. Let's read the article from Politico. Headline, Sinema, I simply won't back a $3.5 trillion spending bill. As her bipartisan infrastructure bill becomes a House bargaining chip, the Arizona Democrat is reiterating her resistance to spending as much as progressives want. This is by Burgess Everett from August 23rd. Kyrsten Sinema still opposes her party's plans for a $3.5 trillion party line spending bill, and she's not up for a negotiation about it. As House Democratic leaders hold back Sinema's own Senate-passed bipartisan infrastructure bill in order to push the Arizona Democrat and Senator Joe Manchin to, that's commenting, the other guy, Joe Manchin, who is always just holding things up in the Democratic Party. Again, this is super convenient. They never do anything about it, and they just allow him to go on this way. Any serious political party would, sanction him, give him consequences, put some kind of restrictions on this, but no. Anyway, Sinema is making it crystal clear that her mind can't be changed, and that applies even as her own legislation becomes a bargaining chip in House Democrats' internal discussions. The $550 billion bipartisan infrastructure bill, quote, is a historic win for our nation's everyday families and employers, and like every proposal should be considered on its own merits, said Sinema spokesperson John LaBombard. Proceedings in the U.S. House will have no impact on Kyrsten's views about what is best for our country, including the fact that she will not support a budget reconciliation bill that costs $3.5 trillion, unquote. So commenting why, there's the old saying, you got to spend money to make money. If we don't fund things, then nobody has money to do anything with. And we're in a pandemic. The economy has ground to a halt. Capitalists are managing all of that very badly, not even doing a mask mandate, which would dramatically cut down on transmission of the virus. And then this, you don't want to rebuild infrastructure and fund other public programs that, within the system that we have. Obviously, we're Marxist-Leninists on this channel. We want to end capitalism, but even within the system that they have, they're letting it fall apart. So anyway, continuing. It's the latest entrenched position from the first-term moderate. You call that moderate? Whose resistance to changing the Senate's filibuster rules and to supporting a $3.5 trillion spending bill is enraging progressives. Note no mention of the $15 minimum wage thing. I don't know if they'll mention that at some point. Sinema and Manchin both helped pass Democrats' budget earlier this month, setting up that gargantuan spending bill, but both are resistant to a social spending package that ultimately meets its $3.5 trillion top-line mark. Sinema in particular specifically opposes that spending goal, which was devised by Senate Budget Chair Bernie Sanders. Senate Democrats need all 50 of their members, including Manchin and Sinema, to pass a filibuster-proof reconciliation spending bill. On Sunday, Speaker Nancy Pelosi said her members were still pursuing a bill that costs $3.5 trillion, but are hoping to finance it in part with tax enforcement and tax increases on the wealthy and corporations. Meanwhile, moderates in Pelosi's caucus why do they keep doing that? They're not moderate, they're right-wing. Anyway, are declining to back the Senate-passed budget unless Pelosi puts Sinema's Senate-passed bipartisan infrastructure bill up for a vote on the House floor. In a statement shortly after Sinema's, Manchin leaned on Pelosi and House leaders to act now on the $550 billion bipartisan infrastructure bill instead of waiting for the Senate to pass a more massive spending bill. Quote, "It would send a terrible message to the American people if this bipartisan bill is held hostage. I urge my colleagues in the House to move swiftly to get this once-in-a-generation legislation to the president's desk for his signature," Manchin said. That's the end of the article, very short there. The Democratic Party it's just a fiasco unfolding over time. You know, when they're in opposition, they rail about Trump and, you know, they try to get, they're always trying to co-opt the left and, you know, use some of the messaging. Some of the more gullible people on the left or more politically naive get taken in by that. And they're like, oh, look, Democrats are talking about some of the things we're talking. No. They're stealing what you say just so that they can get your support and then not doing anything with it, you know, those actual issues that you're concerned about. They're just trying to pacify you and neutralize you. So again, I'll say it again, the Democratic Party is a fiasco. They don't work for you. They're controlled by the same people who control the Republican Party and everything else in this country. This is capitalism. It's governed by the capitalist class who have political power because they have economic and industrial power. Why? Because the laws surrounding property relations say that those who own the bank, the workplace, the apartment building, whatever, they get the profit. If a worker produces goods and services in a workplace, the owner just immediately it becomes their property. So we're in a system where the capitalist class is legally supported, enforced, you know, the system is enforced by police, and it's just systematic exploitation. That's what it is. They take your surplus value. They take it on the shop floor as the goods and services that you produce. They take it in interest on loans. They take it in rent if you're a renter. They take it all over the place. And that's capitalism. This is a system of exploitation. The Democratic Party isn't really going to do anything about that. They pass, you know, they put a couple of Band-Aids on it every once in a while. They never really change anything. And I think that that's the bottom line. We need revolutionary change. Bernie Sanders, you know, I thought for a while there might be some hope if Bernie Sanders actually fought that we could build some kind of a left coalition. Even he didn't hold out. Even the, you know, the great independent Bernie Sanders didn't hold out. Rolled right over twice. And just terrible. So we're at this point. The fundamental task of the U.S. left is to break completely with the Democratic Party. Here on this channel, we teach Marxism, Marxism-Leninism, and that's a solution that has actually led many people out of exploitation. We need to learn it. We need to apply it here in the United States and really everywhere. But, you know, the social democrats like Secular Talk and Humanist Report, they're married to this, we need to elect better Democrats and that's going to fix it. No, it won't fix it. You need to completely get that out of your head. Electing better Democrats is not a viable strategy. We need to break completely with the Democratic Party. It's a prerequisite to further action. That's what this channel is all about. So if you're interested in that, hit the subscribe button, start watching some of the other videos, let it sink in. These are radically different ideas than you're probably exposed to if you're used to that social democracy Bernie stuff. So give it time. Don't fight it too much. Make some notes. Try and understand it. If you have questions, somebody can help you out. But really, we do need to help each other out of the system. Democrats sure as shit aren't going to do it. With that, thanks for listening. Thanks to the current patrons whose names are on the screen. If you'd like to get your name on the screen, head to patreon.com/socialismforall. You can sign up for as little as $2 a month. Every donation is extremely encouraging. I thank all the patrons, some of whom really are very long-term patrons, and that's very much appreciated. I value those relationships a lot. Otherwise, if donations aren't your thing right now, understandable. If you want to support the channel, liking, sharing, subscribing, and commenting, that all helps to boost the channel in the algorithm, get it in front of more eyeballs, expand the conversation. Specifically with regard to sharing, we're on Twitter now. Socialism S4A is the handle. We're not on Facebook, so if you are, please share the videos into any left groups you may be part of, on your Discord servers, on Reddit, wherever you are. Thanks for whatever it is you do personally in the struggle against capital online and in your community, and we'll catch you in the next video.